I was invited to do the PACAP 8, and I decided to call it the Mystery School. It's a dream I've had for a long time, to put the metaphysical practices in a very forward way with a group of artists in a kind of study program. And I invited Anna Rocha to be an artistic collaborator. We chose 19 artists from all over the world with very different backgrounds. And we met as a collective for the first time in February in Montemor Novo. And it was very strong moment because we met them at the bus when they arrived. It was like, wow, it felt already like a huge reunion. And then on that first day, I took them to the cemetery and I said, okay, let's walk in silence to the cemetery and think everything that we had to give up or to let go of to commit to this 6-month process. And then from there, we did a silent walk with closed eyes through the park. Then we arrived in the studios of Montemor and we did a little ritual and they wrote things that they needed to give up. And then they entered the studio and there was like pink lights and Yari was playing this very strong, it was like almost entering a club in the middle of the day. And they did this really incredible wild dance. And then right after that, they had a lecture on anthropology and then they all made dinner together. So that was like the first day of the Mystery School and that was in February. And from there we've had, a really strong, transformative and really full process. We've had a lot of guest teachers from many different places, teaching very different practices. Workshops from Mayfield Brooks, Justin Kennedy. I was teaching C.A. Conrad, to name a few. There also been a series of lectures. There was a lecture on dandelions and the law by Victoria Kulik. There was a lecture on scenographies and the invisible by Nadia Lauro. The teachers also gave lectures. There's been a very strong program of practice, community building a kind of contemporary collective and a support, practices of improvisation and metaphysical practices mixed with a lot of variations of learning and spending time together. Some weeks ago we went to the San Miguel Islands and we took our studio practices and we kind of explored those studio work in the open landscapes and spaces of San Miguel Islands. And now since we came back, we are preparing a performance that's very true to our process, not to make a show, but to see how sharing practices, school practices of our mystery school can be informative and also to give these alchemic experience for a broader audience. They're also working with channeling, speaking about ghosts, spirits. They make private offerings to the audience. They're working in different ways to talk about energy, frequency, vibration, the unseen, the kind of forces that unless we're open or exposed to, we are always, I think, at play when we're in the creative act. So we're making kind of art together, but we're kind of we're giving more attention to that as a force and as a way to bring a community of artists together. We invited 3 collaborators to join us, 2 musicians that were a very important part of the process, Pedro Melo Alves and Yari Maraimaki, and also lighting designer Santiago Rodriguez Trujillo.